Panasonic has now officially announced the Lumix GH6. For those of you familiar with the previous GH series of cameras, you know why video creators are excited about this camera. Now, although the GH lineup of cameras are by definition hybrid cameras and are fully capable of capturing gorgeous stills, it is the filmmaker and the video creator that these cameras are really aiming to impress. The first mirrorless camera that I owned back in the day was the Panasonic GH4, and that was because it was one of the first mirrorless cameras to offer 10-bit recording, albeit externally, but every model since has just offered more and more to the video creator. Features which were once rare or unheard of on mirrorless cameras now became the norm on the Panasonic cameras, such as waveform monitors, histograms, zebras, focus peaking, full HDMI port, log recording. These are all features that are built into the DNA of these cameras. Now, I don't want to get too bogged down in the specs because you can find that elsewhere, but I do want to talk about some of the headline features that make this camera unique. It should come as no surprise that this is a micro four thirds camera. It's equipped with a brand new 25.2 megapixel sensor with a new faster Venus processor. The camera has two card slots, one a CF Express Type B and the other a UHS 2 SD card slot. It has new and improved autofocus and in-body stabilization, but perhaps the feature that excites me the most is the fact that it now offers Apple ProRes internally. The internal ProRes options are slightly limited in terms of frame rate and resolution at the time of this video, but we can expect many more options to come shortly. The beautiful thing about ProRes is not only does it have a reputation for having stunning image quality, but it is not as processor intensive on your computer as many other codecs. It also offers 4K 120 at 10-bit 420 and 4K 60 at 10-bit 422. Not only will the HDMI port support 120 frames per second, it also supports raw recording to an external recorder. In terms of maximum resolutions, you can record 5.7K at up to 60 frames per second in 10-bit 420 or 5.8K anamorphic in 10-bit 420 at up to 30 frames. If you want higher frame rates in anamorphic, you'll need to drop down to 4.4K. It also includes Vlog, not to be confused with Vlog-L. Vlog is the same log curve found in the VariCam, making this an extremely attractive option for a B-cam to those shooting with the VariCam. Now, with the addition of the in-body cooling system in the larger body, you can now rotate the articulating screen 360 degrees even with an HDMI cable plugged in. What I want to show you is what this camera is capable of and walk you through my experience using this camera on set. This is a short video I shot entirely on the GH6. Enjoy.
From 3 years old, soccer's been my life, and it's the only thing I really know how to do. I was always told I'm not fast enough, I'm too small, I won't be able to play at the next level. You just have to want to be determined to prove those people wrong. If you want to become a pro soccer player, there's no one stopping you.
Now on set, this camera performed beautifully. There were no hiccups or glitches or anything to indicate that this is not a full production model camera. It was everything that I already know and love from the previous GH cameras, plus more. Now, because I wanted to utilize the entire 4x3 sensor, I opted to shoot in 5.8K anamorphic. Now, Panasonic has made shooting anamorphic an extremely painless and enjoyable experience with the GH6. Although the file itself will still need to be de-squeezed in post, you can now monitor the de-squeezed image for a variety of anamorphic lens types. In my case, I was using 2x anamorphics, which allowed me to monitor the full 4x3 image de-squeezed to a 2.39:1 aspect ratio. I shot the entire video in Vlog using the Panasonic provided 709 monitoring light. Now, I've personally never been overly ecstatic about Panasonic color science, but I do think with this new Vlog edition, it is easier to get a pleasing image with minimal effort. I'm a big fan of the handheld look, particularly when it is with a larger cinema camera or rig. But with a smaller camera, it is easy to get those micro jitters if you are not using a gimbal or a tripod. Now, unfortunately, the project that I was shooting did not lend itself very well to shooting on a gimbal or a tripod. It was a pretty fast-paced environment, so handheld was definitely the way to go. And with a few tests the night before, I was pretty confident with what the image stabilization was offering. Now, for the documentary or travel filmmaker where portability is obviously a huge concern, this camera could be an extremely attractive choice. Yes, it could pair nicely as a B cam to the VariCam or the EVA, but as a standalone A camera, this camera will not disappoint. Now, of course, when comparing a mirrorless camera to a cinema body, there will always be some shortcomings, whether it's lack of XLR ports or internal NDs or just the shorter battery life that you get with the mirrorless camera, but that doesn't mean the images these are capable of capturing is any less impressive than a pro-level cinema body. Now, a quick thank you to the York United Football Club for allowing us to film with them, as well as to my colleague Dale for helping me out with the shoot. I hope my enthusiasm for this camera has rubbed off a little bit on you. If there's anything specific I wasn't able to cover in this video that you'd like to know, please leave a comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.